You know, I'm like 7, 8 months pregnant, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I can do this. Like, I am like the spoiledest little pregnant girl ever. Like, this is pretty cool. But then there was a downside as well. They were just staring at me. I felt like this little. I guess I was more embarrassed than anything. Some of my friends, their parents didn't want them to hang out with me anymore. Like, that's how bad it got. So they had to like call him on the phone, like, oh, look, your baby's here. I'm looking at your baby. And then he like came inside. You got to remember too, you guys. So he was 16. So he didn't have the mentality he has today. So it was hard too, like trying to get him to grow up as well. That was like a whole nother story. Hey Million fam, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you. If not, you already know what to do. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn your post notification bell on. That way you don't miss one of our videos. Once you turn your post notification bell on, make sure you comment down below and let us know you did it for your chance to win a shout out on our next video. So on today's video, I am going to be talking mainly about my teen pregnancy. A lot of you guys know that I have a 12-year-old daughter and I'm only 28. Me and her dad are still together. We've been together for like 15 years. I was 12, he was 13 when we first got together. And that's a whole nother story. We'll probably do like a how I met video later on. So I don't want to get too much into detail on that. And my teen pregnancy was not a walk in the park. We went through so many struggles that I'm going to share with you guys today. I am going to talk also a little bit about being a teen mom, but I'm going to save the majority of that for a next video. So there will be a part 2. Again, make sure you turn your post notification bell on so you don't miss it. Before I jump into this video, you guys, I do want you to know that I do not whatsoever encourage teen pregnancy. And I do not regret my babies, not one bit. I do, however, wish I would have waited. So with that being said, by the age of 15, we did decide that by having a baby, we would be endless in love. We would be able to move in together. We could be adults. Nobody could tell us anything. Little did I know that is not how it works. So needless to say, my oldest daughter, Analia, that many of you know, was not an accident. She was supposed to happen. I thought that by having a baby, it would solve all of our problems. I thought that by having a baby, my mom would let me move out of the house. I thought that we were going to like go get jobs and we were going to get our own dream house and we were going to live happily ever after. That was not the case whatsoever. After we quit using protection, it only took us 2 weeks to get pregnant. And the reason I know that is because when you go for your first appointment, they calculate when you are ovulating, when was your last period, and how old your baby is, and they tell you what day you got pregnant. So after we stopped using protection, it only took me 2 weeks to get pregnant, you guys. That's how fertile you are. It literally took me 2 weeks. The day that I found out I was pregnant, honestly, I don't even remember. I don't think that I had any symptoms or anything like that. It's just the fact that we were wanting to get pregnant, so we would start taking pregnancy tests like once a week. That's how I found out I was pregnant. When I did find out I was pregnant, I was in shock. Like, I was scared. I was nervous. I knew that I wanted to get pregnant, but then when it really happened, it was like a whole different story. Like, I didn't want it anymore. I instantly regretted it. I was so scared. Like, I had so many emotions going through me. Edward, on the other hand, was very, very happy because you got to remember, at one time, this is what we wanted. Like, we did this on purpose. I think a lot of people don't realize this, that try to get pregnant as a teenager. And also, the same thing goes with, like, suicide as well. When you want something, you don't really think it's going to happen. And then when it happens, it kind of, like, slaps you in the face. Like, I didn't even know where it came from. I called my mom. I was at Edward's house. I called my mom and I'm like, Mom, I have to tell you something. She knew right away. She was like, let me guess, you're pregnant. And I'm like, no. I didn't want to tell her yes or no, but I didn't want to lie to her either because me and my mom had a really good bond. Like, my mom trusted me. I did a lot at my age that I probably wasn't supposed to be doing. And my mom knew about the majority of the things I was doing because she trusted me. She knew where I was going, who I was with. And I don't want to make it seem like she didn't care, because she did. She wanted to know who I was with, who was driving, who was all going to be there. She was that kind of mom. It's just that she trusted me, and I took advantage of her. So now, here I am. I show up at home later that night, and I sit on my mom's bed, and I said, remember earlier when I told you I had to talk to you? And she was like, you're pregnant. I'm thinking to myself, like, how the does she know? Do you guys think she could sense that or something? Because me and her were really close. Do you guys think that she could sense I was pregnant? Comment down below if you guys think that she could sense it. So, anyways, I'm like, Mom, remember earlier I told you that I had to tell you something? She was like, yeah, you're pregnant. And I'm like, well, that's what these tests said. And I gave her 3 different tests, okay? I think she was in denial just as much as I was, because she left that night and went out and bought 3 more tests. So total, I took like 9 tests. They all came back positive. She went ahead and she made me an appointment. It was like 2 weeks out. And we get to my appointment and they make me pee in a cup to do a pregnancy test. And they also take blood from my arm to check my hormone levels. And everything came back positive. When they came and gave us our results, it was weird, because for the first time in my life, I had to give my mom permission to look at my results. But
this is where it gets crazy.
She had to sign a consent saying that it was okay for them to give me the results because I'm a minor. But I had to sign a consent as well saying that it was okay to give her the results because this was my baby. Does that make sense? Crazy how that worked out, right? Thankfully, me and my mom were really close, like I had mentioned, so there was no problem there, and the results came out positive. The ride home, you guys, was so freaking awkward. I will never forget it. It was the first time that me and my mom was like dead silence on our way home. We even stopped at McDonald's to get some lunch, and she didn't even ask me what I wanted to order. She just like ordered me something. We get home and we sit at the dining room table and we pull out our chairs to eat our McDonald's. And my mom was like,
you know, I just want to put this out there that I am not going to be your free babysitter. I will only babysit while you're at school or you're at work.
And she kept her word, you guys. Like, I'm not even joking. Mind you, Edward was working at Kmart and Taco Bell at the age of 16. Like, he had quit school. He was working at Kmart and Taco Bell to give us diapers, to buy us baby clothes, to buy me maternity clothes, to buy whatever snacks I wanted. We didn't have any bills or anything like that to pay, but Edward was driving at the time illegally. He did not have a driver's license, but he was driving at the time, so he had to pay for his gas and everything. So he was working 2 jobs. Me, on the other hand, I was going to school full time. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was a sophomore at the time. My mom was never really mad at me. She was just more disappointed in me because, like I told you guys, she trusted me. So she was like really disappointed in me, I guess. But overall, she was happy. It was her first grandkid, even though I was only 15. At the end of the day, she's not one to like disown me. She always supported, like, no matter what I want to do, she always supported it. So I was thankful to have a mom like her. The youngest baby in my family, besides now my baby, is my little sisters. And they were like 11 at the time. And I'm talking about aunts and uncles and cousins. Like, there was no babies in my family. So my grandma and grandpa were kind of excited after all. And then my aunts or uncles were super excited. So now the pressure is like gone. Like, I'm like, ooh, I could finally breathe. I got a weight lifted off my shoulders. I never got sick in my first pregnancy. I never got nauseated. I never threw up. I never none of that stuff. I think there was like a time where I got a really bad cold and I had like a chest, like bronchitis or something. But other than that, like pregnancy symptoms, I did not have any. My first pregnancy was like smooth. Then let me tell you guys about like my little sisters. I would come home, I would be all big walking and stuff. My little sisters would come and rub my back. They would give me like 20-minute back massages all the time. My older sister would come home and she would buy me clothes because my clothes would get too small. My mom would take me to go buy me whatever I wanted to eat. So at this point, you know, I'm like 7, 8 months pregnant, and I'm like, you know what, like I can do this. Like, I am like the spoiledest little pregnant girl ever. Like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Why didn't I get pregnant earlier? I could have been treated like this earlier. I was walking around like I was the little princess. Like, everybody spoiled me. I had 3 baby showers. My mom threw me one. My aunt, my grandma threw me one. Then I had one with Edward's family. My baby had clothes for like
4 years, you guys.
like, I'm not even kidding. I didn't have to buy diapers till she was like a year and a half old. Like, that's how much like support I had. That's how much like everybody just like loved the new baby, and I'm very thankful for that. Then I would have Edward come home. He actually quit Taco Bell, and I think he started KFC. Or no, he quit Kmart, and then he started KFC. So he would come home every day with those little chocolate parfaits. So I would be eating those. Like, I was just so spoiled. His dad would come and bring me food, Edward's dad. I was so spoiled, you guys. I was like, okay, I can get used to this. But then there was a downside as well. So, mind you, I'm 15. All my little friends had all their quinceañeras and everything, and I couldn't go because here I am so big. I did go to like 2 quinceañeras, and their parents were just staring at me. Like, I felt like they were just staring at me. I felt like this little. I felt like I disappointed everybody. I felt like I was the bad, I felt like I was the bad friend. Like, nobody wanted their kids to hang out with me, that kind of friend. I felt like, I guess I was more embarrassed than anything. Some of my friends, their parents didn't even want them to hang out with me anymore. Like, that's how bad it got. So, a lot of you know that I was born with a heart condition. It has never been anything serious until recently, and it's never given me a problem. So, throughout my pregnancy, they actually watched me pretty good because they did not know if my heart was strong enough to carry a baby, and they did not know if the baby was going to have a heart problem. So I did have a lot of appointments that I had to go to. I was going to see my OB from 5 months until the day that I had my daughter. I was seeing my OB once every 2 weeks. I would get an ultrasound once every 2 weeks. I had so many pictures. It was like, you know what? Maybe this was supposed to happen. Things are falling into place. I got everybody supporting me. Everybody's spoiling me. I'm going to the doctor regularly. Everything turns out fine. This is really going to be our happily ever after. I had a plan that right after I had my baby, my mom was going to let me move out. If I could prove to her just a little bit after I had the baby that I can take care of the baby, like, this is it. Like, this is my chance. Like, this is what is supposed to happen. So now here we are in December. My baby was due December 11th. But because my baby was breech, for those of you that don't know what that is, so your baby is supposed to be head down. But breech means that your baby's head is up and the feet are on the bottom. Your baby can't come out feet first. So that's when they schedule you a C-section, so that way they can just take the baby out of your belly instead of you pushing your baby out feet first. So here we are, December 4th. I'm supposed to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, okay? I get there at like 5:30 because I could not sleep the night before. I was so anxious. My back was hurting so bad. I remember Edward, he stayed up all night playing PlayStation. My mom stayed up all night on the computer. Like, my whole house was anxious. My sisters were there. My mom was there. My aunts, uncles, my friends were there. My grandma and grandpa flew all the way in from Florida to be there. Everybody was there except for Edward's family. I don't think that his family cared as much as my family did because he was raised way different than I am. He pretty much raised himself, and whatever part he didn't raise himself, his dad helped raise him. Me, on the other hand, I was raised with my mom. So, like, my mom's side of the family was there, and it was just him. And then I think he had, like, his half-brother's mom there to support him, which was not his mom. Does that make any sense? And then his sister-in-law came up later to see the baby, and I think his sister came up later on to see the baby. But other than that, he really didn't have any support. So we get to the hospital in the morning, and the doctor does an ultrasound, and he's like, your baby flipped. Your baby's not breech anymore. And I'm like,
Huh?
like, I don't want to go home. Like, I'm already here. He's like, well, if you want, we can go ahead and do it since you're already here and we already prepped you. So I'm like, yeah, take this baby out. Like, game over. Like, I'm done. At this point, he's like, you only get one person in the surgery room. Who do you want it to be? Then my mom and Edward are going back and forth. Edward's like, well, I think I should be in there because that's my girlfriend and that's my baby. And my mom's like, well, that's my baby. And what if this is a major surgery? What if something happens to my baby while this is going on and my grandbaby? And then he's like, well, that's my girlfriend. And they were just going back and forth. So finally I was like, oh my God, you guys. Like,